Okay, hi, what's up? Game week 9 is done and looking forward to game week 10 now. Game week 9 was a tough game week, I think, and I did okay. I got a score of 54 points this week, and I'm really happy with that. It's above the average of 43, and it breaks that 50-point mark in a week when it was quite hard to break 50 points, I think, due to a lot of the main big players kind of not really delivering this week. Okay, so I'm going to start off by just going through last week's games and results and have a little look at what was going on beyond the points that were scored in those games. Then I'll kind of take you through my team, how it did, what I'm feeling good about, what I'm not feeling good about. And then we'll kind of jump into the 5-5-3 league and see how that's doing. And then I guess lastly I'll round off with just a little bit of thinking about what my plans are for game week 10. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail. I'll probably do another video on that later this week. But you know, I'll share where I'm at and see what you're thinking, maybe get a few responses to kind of what's going on. So let's jump into game week 9 and go through some of these fixtures. I'll probably start with the last game, which was Arsenal beating Leicester 3-1 at home. I guess the obvious headline here is that Arsenal's front three is looking pretty irresistible, or at least their attack is. When I describe Arsenal's front three, I've mentioned this before, but I'm talking about Lacazette, Aubameyang and Ozil. Ozil was absolutely superb in this game, and I've been talking about him and watching him for a few weeks now, and I really would like him in my side. It's interesting that Lacazette blanked though, which was probably very disappointing for everyone that holds him. But Aubameyang obviously got 2 goals himself. What I think this game and this match kind of masked a little bit was that Leicester actually played pretty well and could easily have scored more than 1 goal. Arsenal's defence still isn't all that. That said, Hector Bellerin had a great game in some ways. He scored an own goal, but then managed to get 2 assists and even pick up a bonus point. I'll kind of talk about him a little bit later because he's in my team. But Arsenal's defence is still not quite what it could be, but attacking they're looking incredibly attractive. Arguably even behind Man City, probably the best attack to look at, with Liverpool's kind of attack firing a little bit, or just certainly not weighing in with the same volume of goals that they were in the second half of last season. Let's move on to talk about that Liverpool-Huddersfield game. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Obviously Salah got a goal, which is great, and it was around this time of last season that he really started going on that run where he was scoring a lot of goals, contributing a lot of fantasy league points. So it's kind of interesting that he was the one to get that goal, and perhaps this could be the start of something for him. They've got Cardiff at home next, Liverpool, so that's a pretty attractive fixture. So yeah, maybe it's time to bring Salah back in. I know a lot of people will be thinking about that this week, but that's definitely on my mind. But the story of this game was that actually Huddersfield were very unlucky not to at least get a point, if not win that game. They hit the post, had a goal wrongly ruled out for offside, had a couple of other fantastic chances. Now, Huddersfield's big problem is that they can't score at the moment, but based on the way they're playing and the chances that they're creating, that is going to change at some point. They are going to start to get some goals. I don't know if there's any sure bets that you can look at from an FPL point of view, but if a strategy so far has been, to make sure that you're playing as many defenders as you can against Huddersfield, knowing that they're not going to score to try and pick up clean sheets, it's been a good strategy so far this season, but I'm not sure it's going to last that much longer, because they're going to have to start scoring goals if they keep playing the way that they are. So I think they're in a bit of a false position, Huddersfield. Bournemouth blanked at home to Southampton. Some wasteful finishing in that game. They could have scored in that. But the hidden story of this game was really Southampton. Again, like Huddersfield, they're not scoring many goals at all. So as a fantasy manager, you could look at that and say, oh, they're hopeless. I won't pick Ings. I won't really look at that at all. But they've been creating a lot of good goal-scoring chances, and they really should have scored against Bournemouth. I think they're like Huddersfield, that they're a team that are going to start to record more attacking points at some point, against some opposition, because they're playing actually pretty well, but for some really badly missed chances, and they could easily have got a goal or 2 themselves. Spurs won and got a clean sheet again against West Ham at the weekend. I think they were a little fortunate to get this win. Lloris had a great game, kept Spurs into the game, and obviously the defending points are still racking up for Trippier, who I don't have in my team. But they're just not moving. I guess the concern with Tottenham is that their attack just isn't as free-flowing as you would like it to be. They just scored the 1 goal, which Lamela got. Eriksen did come off the bench back from injury, and maybe that's going to be the thing that unlocks some more attacking points from Tottenham. But I'm kind of cold on Tottenham at the moment. I've currently got Harry Kane and Lucas Moura in my team, and even though they seem to be the guys that are going to make things happen, there's just not a lot happening. They're just not scoring enough goals. They're very much like Liverpool at the moment, where they're grinding results out, which is great for them in terms of the league position, but they're not banging in as many goals as I guess we've come to expect. But will that change? Is it too early to act now to take Kane and Moura out of my team? I don't know. You know, with Eriksen coming back, and then Ali will be back again, I guess, in another week or two. And once that team's kind of firing again, maybe they will start to generate a lot more goals. We'll see, I guess. But right now, I'm feeling a little bit pessimistic on Spurs. West Ham played pretty well. Arnautovic could easily have got a few goals himself. Bad news to lose Yarmolenko, though. He looks like he's out for pretty much the rest of the season. And that could be a real blow because I think he's a good player and holds the ball up well for them and is strong and had started really well in the first few games that he's played. So that poses a bit of a dilemma because I was really interested in signing Arnautovic because he's doing really well and they've got a fantastic run of fixtures coming up. They've got one tricky fixture, I think, up against Man City coming. But outside of that, they've got, I think the next 12 games are all pretty winnable. So that has just tempered my strategy. I was going to bring Arnautovic in, I still might, but I'm not entirely sure now that we know that Yarmolenko is going to be out for a while. You know, how much is that going to affect West Ham? I don't know. Snodgrass has come in recently and played pretty well. Maybe he can kind of fill those boots, but we have to see, I guess. Cardiff scored some goals and won a game, which is kind of amazing. They scored 4, which doubled their tally for the season. I'm still not super excited about Cardiff, though. I think overall they're a fairly weak team, and maybe those 4 goals say as much about Fulham's defence as it does about Cardiff's attack. Schürrle and Sessignon both scored, great goals, and they are worth thinking about if you want some differential points. Schürrle in particular seems to be playing very well and is on good form and finding the back of the net. City played Burnley, beat them 5-0. They were sublime. Apparently Vincent Kompany was quite lucky not to get sent off right at the beginning of this game, and Burnley can complain about 1 or 2 of the other goals, but I mean, City are just wrapping these goals in from 25 yards out, and no team can really do much about it. I don't think Burnley play particularly badly, and just wallops from outside of the area from Fernandinho and Mahrez, and then the Bernardo Silva finish was just superb. But I should talk about Bernardo Silva. I've had him in my team for a long time now, and he's been really great for me overall. There's been a couple of blank weeks, but he's a good player to have in that Man City team. Pep seems to love him, and he's getting a lot of game time and minutes and goals and assists. So I'll talk about him in a bit, but I was pretty pleased with how he did. Mendy had a great game here too. Just want to have 3 Man City players in my team moving forward. It's Aguero plus 2 others, and right now I'm really happy that I've got Mendy and Bernardo Silva. Brighton beat Newcastle. The story of this game really was Matt Ryan. I think he had a fantastic game. He made tons of saves. I mean, Newcastle are pretty poor, but if Ryan hadn't had such a good game, they would have easily got a draw here against Brighton, if not won the game themselves. So don't write Newcastle off as being too hopeless too quickly. But Matt Ryan is a player that I think he's got great fixtures coming up as well. It could easily be a player that I sign this week because Brighton aren't that good, so there's a chance that he'll have to make a lot of saves, but also a decent chance that there's going to be some clean sheets in there too. So I think he's going to be a player that generates quite a lot of points over the next few weeks. Chelsea versus Man United. I was pleased that Eden Hazard didn't do anything here because obviously I don't own him yet. Bit of a meh game really. I mean, I don't know that many people have Rudiger, for example, who had a great game. He might be a player worth looking at if he's going to continue to be such a threat from set pieces and be in the box for those kinds of chances to drop to him. I mean, outside of that, Martial did pretty well with his 2 goals. Maybe Martial will go on a run. Maybe Rudiger's a guy to bring in as a bit of a differential to Alonso or anyone else, or Azpilicueta who you might be picking in that team. But overall, a kind of meh from a FPL point of view for this game. Oh, I guess I should probably mention Everton beating Palace. Oh, that was rough for me. I mean, Palace played quite well. They were quite tight, I think, for most of that game. There was clearly need for Palace to bring on some substitutes from the bench to try to get the game won and to ultimately get a goal, especially after Luka Milivojevic missed that penalty, which is very frustrating. He's missed He and Palace overall have missed tons of penalties now over the last season or two, and you just can't do that if you want to progress as in this league. You need to make those things count. And then Hodgson really got outmanaged by Silva. Silva brought on 3 subs, 2 of which combined for Everton's first goal, and the third sub scored their second. And Palace didn't have any ideas. We didn't react by bringing on an additional defender. We didn't bring Connor Wickham on before that to try and get a goal. So Palace are desperately poor at the moment, and that was the one hope of getting points. Their next 4 games are terrible fixtures. I would avoid all of their players at all costs. I think I'm probably going to take Hennessy out, maybe even for a hit, and bring in Matt Ryan, because I hate taking hits. I hate giving up points like that. But maybe I'll wait another week. I don't know. But it's Palace are terrible at the moment, and it kills me. Okay, so look, here's my team. I'll walk you through it very quickly now. Again, feeling really good about getting the 54 points this week. Hennessy in goal got 1 point. He's on his way out of this team. I think most people that have held him, because he did quite well for a few games, are probably looking to shift him on now with these fixture switches coming up. Hector Bellerin scored an own goal, but got 2 assists and a bonus point. So had a pretty good game for Arsenal overall. Linked up really well with Ozil and those other guys in the attacking kind of part of the field for Arsenal. So I'm feeling good about him right now. Glad to see him returning some points after a few blank weeks. Robertson got a clean sheet for Liverpool and a couple of bonus points, which is great. Alonso kind of blanked again. He's done really little for me since I've had him in the team, and he's an expensive player. I think he might be someone I look to move on. Benjamin Mendy did great, obviously got a clean sheet and assist, I think, and a bonus point there, which is fantastic. Glad to see him back doing really well. Midfield was a little bit disappointing again. Lucas Moura and Richarlison just getting me a kind of 1 point for a clean sheet, not really getting involved in the attacking points. Richarlison I should talk about as well, because he hasn't done that much for me recently, and then he wasn't involved in the goals that got Everton that win against Palace. And you've got to think that with him having played up front, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who came in and scored, and Cenk Tosun, who scored the second, have given themselves a really good shout of taking that kind of striker spot again. So I'm a little bit concerned about Richarlison. I'm not sure that he's going to be the man moving forward, or whether he'll keep that spot as a striker, which is one of the reasons I brought him in, because I thought he'd try and he'd be on the ends of lots of attacking touches and goals. But we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with him. Bernardo Silva got a goal. It's a bit frustrating. He got substituted just before the hour mark, which would have got him a couple of extra points, I think, with the clean sheet. But and a more full appearance point. But I can't complain too much. He scored, so that's great. Harry Kane did nothing again. It's been pretty disappointing. Apart from when I brought him in for that Huddersfield game where he got a couple, he's blanked quite a bit in the most recent weeks. So I think he'll be coming out this week, especially as Spurs have got Man City at home. I think it makes it very tough to see him scoring any goals. Sergio Aguero was my captain. He scored, did his job, got 12 points. Pretty happy with him. And then finally Callum Wilson blanked in that game against Southampton, but looked lively and set up a couple of chances, one that Josh King really should have scored from. So feeling pretty good about him, especially at his price, to keep him around for now. Alright, let's look at the 553 league now. Before we actually get into the league, I just wanted to recognise something that happened last week. Someone joined the league and had the team name Keep Racism in Football. I'm sorry if you saw that on the page. As soon as I could, I have removed that person from the league. I don't know what that person was thinking. If that's what you believe, then you're not welcome here. This is a very inclusive game overall, and this league is very inclusive too. I want to just be absolutely clear that there's no room for any kind of racist messages within the game or within this 553 league. So I don't know whether you thought it was a joke or whether you think that seriously, but either way, you're not welcome here. I love the fact that the league has got people from all sorts of countries all over the world, and I want to just be super clear in case anyone saw that that's not going to be tolerated around here, and that you're welcome here from anywhere within the world. And I'm really pleased that there's some different countries represented even already in this small league of 13 people. So just wanted to address that. And remind you, if you're in other leagues or you're the admin of a league, that it is pretty straightforward to just remove someone from a league if you see any kind of offensive messages like that. So if you want to know how to do that, just drop me a comment and I can shoot you a note and point you in the right direction. Okay, so that was a bit of a bummer, but let's move on to look at the league now and see how everyone's doing. I think first up, congrats to Mustafa. You're bottom of the league right now, but you were the top performing player this week, so you had a great game week, so well done there. Hopefully you'll be able to climb off the bottom and catch up with some of the guys that are just ahead of you. I did okay. I think I'm joint second top scorer this week with Rahul, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm still in the middle of the table, not really going anywhere. But in the game, in terms of my overall rank, I'm kind of moving up steadily week by week, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think I'm up to into the top 600k now, which is not really where I want to finish. I want to keep moving on, but it's definitely a lot better than where I was in game week 2, 3, 4, where I had a really rough time. But back to the 553 league. Look, congrats to Raul, who's joined the league and is currently top. He's got 562 points, which is pretty fantastic. I know it's a little bit difficult to track, how we're doing in this league when we've got kind of new people coming in all the time. But because this is a new thing, I want to keep the doors open for as long as possible for people to join the league. So hopefully it will settle down over time. We can see a little bit more kind of like how players are moving and interacting. So bear with us for now. But look, I think it will make it more fun over time to have more players involved. So pretty sure it'll settle down in the next few weeks or so. Okay, the last part of the video is just have a quick look forward to game week 10. There's some attractive fixtures here. Liverpool at home to Cardiff is the one that screams out the most. Could be time to bring Mohamed Salah back in. Mane might be fit by then. There are definitely Liverpool players that are on my mind for next weekend. Arsenal are away at Palace. They're free scoring and look great against Leicester, and Palace don't look that good. Although Palace do look quite solid, it's a potentially attractive fixture to bring in one of those Arsenal attacking players. And then the third kind of fixture to think about is, the fact that Spurs are playing Man City, and that's going to be tight for both teams. And I've got 3 Man City players, and Spurs are not going to roll over as easily as Burnley did, and they're, Man City are away. So that's a tough fixture to navigate. Although I think it might be tougher for Spurs the way City are playing. So look, on my radar this week, I've got 2 free transfers. I'm really thinking about bringing in Salah for that Cardiff game, and I think that hopefully he might spark into a little bit more form over the next few weeks. I really like Matt Ryan as well at Brighton. I think he could come in for Wayne Hennessy. But I need a third transfer in order to make that Salah thing happen. So I think I'm almost certainly going to be selling Kane and bringing in a cheaper striker. I'm actually really interested in either Arnautovic or Murray. Their fixtures are crazy good over the next few weeks as well. So he's also cheap, and that means I can start to bolster my midfield. And, longer term, I might be able to bring in, Hazard for a few weeks in addition to Salah, which I'm kind of interested in. So that's what's on my mind at the moment. I'll do another video later in the week to kind of confirm exactly what I end up doing, whether I take the hit to bring in Matt Ryan this week or not. But that's it, I think, for this video. Thank you for watching. Please hit that thumbs up button if you liked this video, and click the link to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.